Hello everyone, my name is Gina. We are happy to see you on our channel Simo and Gina, and we are excited to present a brand new video. Today we are taking you on a fascinating bus tour on Savannah, Georgia, along with a relaxing cruise on the Mississippi River. We'll show you the beautiful historic downtown of Savannah, the amazing variety of parks and squares, stunning architecture, and share some amusing facts about the charming and delightful city. The most importantly, today we are joined by a wonderful storyteller with a subtle sense of humor and outstanding guide, and a highly skilled bus driver, Chris. He was so impressive that we made sure to keep his comments in the most interesting parts of the video. Please enjoy the journey.
We're here at the visitor center here in Savannah, Georgia, and we're taking a tour on this bus to show us around.
But where we are right now, we're actually leaving from the loading yard of what was the old Central of Georgia Railroad. She was founded back in 1833 by Mr. William Washington Gordon, and the tracks of the Great Central stretched 190 miles northwest into the beautiful city of Macon, which is how all the cotton would come into the city from the outlying areas. Because we are the main ports for the state of Georgia, and today we are the second largest port in the southeast part of the nation. Because we just slipped ahead of Charleston one more time. Now the colony was set as a military buffer zone to protect the English colonists in Charleston from the Spanish in Florida. They were attacking the English territories, trying to take them over. So from the very beginning, we were set here to defend our big sister Charleston. You're going to have to get off the trolley, stand on either side of that Chippewa Square side right there in front of us, smile and look real pretty. Because that's where the Forrest Gump heartbeat said. And he waited on bus number 9, eat the box of chocolate. Back with them, because after all it was a Hollywood prop. It was never in the square. Savannah wrote them a nice little nasty letter, and we got the park bench back. Today it's in our history museum. use it on fences, porches, balconies. Y'all will use it in the smallest of detail, such as the dolphin downspouts at the end of the gutter pipes on either side of this home. Homeowner, you can't repaint or even re-roof your home without the approval of our historic site. I am telling y'all, they have got to be one of the most powerful HOAs in the nation, I'll guarantee you. For mentioning these were some of the oldest homes, let me give y'all a few examples. That beautiful blue home dates back to 1798. This next home on the corner of Orange Square, 1821 to 1823. Took them 2 years to complete that house. Now notice the stonework on the foundation of this home and on the chimney. The color itself is called Oglethorpe brown. And if you look underneath the middle column on the front porch, you will see that home was built from 1806 to 1809. It physically took them 3 years to construct that one house. Did y'all get a pretty good look at it? I thought they'd have all looked like this one. Dark and gray in color. But you know, I had to remember, back then they didn't have color photography. So everything looked dark and gray in color. But they did believe in painting their homes beautiful pastel colors, such as our Rainbow Road. They said it physically made the homes more welcoming for people to come into. 57 square feet. That is the smallest house in the city of Savannah. They just sold that little gem for the asking price of a little over $350,000. And the owners are going to make every dime of it back because they turned it into an Airbnb. The Owens Thomas House Stop number 7 was built from 1816 to 1819 by a 21-year-old architect whose name was William J. He was believed to be a genius. The walls of this house are 22 inches thick, designed to keep the home cool during the summer and warm during the winters. We're coming up on the back of the old Isaiah Davenport home. Built from 1820 to 21 by Mr. Isaiah, a master builder. You will find no air in this home. But by 1955, the house was in such disarray, it was scheduled to be torn down. 7 ladies got together here. They raised $22,500 and purchased this home 2 hours before the wrecking ball was just trying to make it a market lot. Today, this is the property of the Historic Savannah Foundation. And in 1955, it was that house and those 7 beautiful ladies that started it all. For them all the homes in the city, this is the one I've always wanted. Y'all notice all the ornamental carvings above the windows, the window sills, columns, stairs, the stair rails, rails around the verandas, everything on the home, down to the frame that holds the glass in the window. She was built by Mr. William Kehoe. He was the owner of our local iron foundry. Mr. William had a motto. He said this: if you can carve it in wood, then I will cast it in iron. This is the Old Savannah Theater. Now there is one in Pennsylvania called the Walnut Theater that claims to be older than ours because she dates about 1809. We'll give it to her in years, but not continuous operation, because for a period of about 10 years, the Walnut Theater in Pennsylvania was used as a horse arena. Ours has never been used as a horse arena, so our stop number 2 is the oldest and continuous live production theater. 13 feet in the air, making it the second tallest temple in the city. The cathedral will house over 1,000 people, and they just spent over $13 million restoring the inside and $9 million on the outside, for a grand total of $22 million in restoration. I do recommend, if you get a chance while you're in Savannah, step inside the cathedral, because she's probably as close as I will ever get to see it. This is Big Chapel. That's just how well. And in front of us now, y'all, you see beautiful Lafayette Square, named for the Marquis de Lafayette, a Frenchman who fought with us during many battles of the American Revolutionary War. And as we make our way around the square, coming up out the right front of the trolley, and she'll be on your right as we drive by, dating back to 1873, built for Mr. Samuel P. Hamilton. Today, this is the beautiful Hamilton Turner Inn. It's a bed and breakfast. Y'all, Mr. Sam was the president of our local electric company, and his home was the very first in the city in 1896 to receive electricity. It's at this very spot, two gentlemen would come, turn back to back, walk out 10 paces, turn, pull pistols, and shoot to kill. That's Savannah's dueling grounds. And y'all imagine, they built a playground at the end of it. And on the right hand side now is the oldest police barracks still in use in our nation. It dates back to 1869 and it houses our police department, which was established in 1854. The first two chapters of the book Treasure Island were conceived in this building. This is where Robert Louis Stevenson got his idea for the book. It's also where he got the idea for Captain John Flint from a nameless man that drank himself to death in that far second floor window, which at that time would have been known as the captain's quarters. And this little brick structure, right here in the center, is the oldest in our state. She was built in 1734. And yes, if y'all decide you might want to enjoy a meal at the Byron's house, you can have it right there in that oldest standing church. Ladies and gentlemen, what you see before you today are not white brick. That house is encased from the foundation up in marble block. The fence which surrounds this home on smaller scale is an exact replica of the fence which surrounds Buckingham Palace. Dating back to 1860, you're going to see the beautiful Mercy Williams home, originally built for General Hugh Mercer. Now, Hugh Mercer was Johnny Mercer's great granddaddy. Johnny, as y'all may recall, was one of our big jazz artists. He was the co-founder of Capitol Records. Johnny wrote songs like Moon River, You Must Have Been a Beautiful Baby, and even Baby It's Cold Outside. But Johnny never lived there. But Jim Williams did for the movie that night, Good Morning Good and Evil, and Jim's sister still lives, or almost lives in that house. So when Miss Mary died, she left 90% of her money and this beautiful home to her one village true love, which was the Arts and Sciences. Today, this is the museum of the Tailfair Academy of Arts and Science, the very first public art museum in the South, and it's also our stop number 10. A massive granite boulder. That boulder came to us from Stone Mountain, Georgia at the price of $1 to memorialize Tommy Chichi. He was chief of the Yamaha Indian, co-founder of the colony of Georgia, and a very good friend of General James Oglethorpe. He was almost 90 years old when he died, and they say that the great chief stood close to 7 foot tall. And what you're hearing now are the bells of the oldest Lutheran church here in the city of Savannah. Dating back to 1741, that is a beautiful Lutheran Church of the Ascension. That is the second oldest Lutheran church in the state of Georgia. And as we make our way around the square, in the center of the square you'll find a monument dedicated to Mr. William Washington Gordon for the founding of the Great Central Georgia Railroad, and he was also the grandfather of Miss Juliette Gordon Love, the founder of the Girl Scouts. And out the left now is just another one of many fine examples of architecture we have in the city. Y'all, this building was the United States Post Office and the Chatham County Federal Courthouse. It was built out of granite, and every piece of granite on the building was mined out of a small quarry in Elbridge, Georgia. But to tell you how we preserve everything, they are reconstructing this building from the inside out. It will still function as the Chatham County Federal Courthouse, but the post office, since they don't need to be as large, has been moved up here on the corner where the green and white striped awnings are on the right. In front of us, this is beautiful Franklin Square. Named for a man that had a one-time step foot in the city of Savannah. That man's name was Benjamin Franklin. You know, y'all, they say the man discovered electricity. We had to give him something. Plus the fact he was a very big benefactor to the 13th colony, both politically and financially. And in the center of the Franklin Square, you'll find a monument dedicated to 600 Haitian soldiers. These men from Haiti came over here and fought with us during the Battle of the Siege of Savannah. They gave their lives fighting for our freedom and our independence from England. They had nothing to gain. So out of respect and honor, we dedicate the monument. And as we make our way around the square, y'all, coming up in front of us now, and she'll be on your right as we drive by, is the very first African-American owned building in the United States of America. This is the beautiful First African Baptist Church. Somebody tell me how old our country will be in July. 250. This church just celebrated the 249th anniversary.
Wow.
The sanctuary itself dates back to 1859. It was built and completely owned by the hands of the enslaved. They worked on plantations during the day, and they would come into the city by night, where they would physically build the church by campfire and by candlelight. It was also used as part of the Underground Railroad system. There are holes drilled in their sanctuary floor to where when the slaves would hide in about a 3-foot subfloor underneath, they could actually breathe fresh air. There's only one building on the entire square that has never been abandoned. And that building actually sits on the original trust lot that was granted to the building by King George himself. Dating back to 1733, this is beautiful Christ Church. Now as we make our way around the square, I mentioned earlier about fires. In 1796, a major fire swept through Savannah, which destroyed over 85% of the city. And then again, in 1820, another major fire swept through, destroying over 70% of the city. And then one more time in 1889, another major fire destroyed over half of Savannah. One house within this city managed to survive all 3 fires. And that's that house across the square, right over there. The old Pink Couch Restaurant and Tavern today, a very good restaurant, I might add, the home of Mr. James Haversham when it was first built, which would bring us up to our stop number 8. And as we turn back to the left, y'all, to make our way down, what we're going to ride over on these ramps are cobblestone. Now, once we get to River Street, what we're going to ride over is Savannah is also commonly called cobblestone. But technically, they're not. There is a difference. Now, both of these stones were used in the base of the old ship to keep them weight and to keep them balanced while they were in. Now, once they arrived here, and we started loading with cotton, turpentine, sugar, rice, hemp, and all the other exports, they would throw the old stones off. Well, they started piling up all over the place. So the city side, in order to get rid of them, they would pave the ramps with the cobblestone. And they created River Street with the ballast stone. Now, if you want to know the difference, as we go down the ramps, you'll see these stones are more rounded and they're smooth. It's because these are cobblestone. They were picked up out of the beds of English rivers and streams. They were created by nature itself. As we go down River Street, you'll see they look more like brick. It's because they were created by the hand of man. And that's the difference between the two stones. And if y'all look over to the left, you get another beautiful view of the bridge which stretches across the river. Y'all, at the highest of high tides, that bridge is 186 feet above the water. She's almost 19 stories tall. Some of the freighters that are coming in here now are so large that they have to sit in the mouth of the Savannah and wait for the tide to completely fall before they can clear the base of that bridge. So you're talking about ships that are over 19 stories tall. And across the beautiful river from us, you'll see Hudson Island, where you'll find the Westin Hotel and Resort, and right beside the Westin, that very contemporary building is Savannah International Trade Convention Center. Hudson Island is part of Savannah and does belong to the beautiful state of Georgia. And I say beautiful river, but let me warn you, those waters are dark, they're murky, and they're treacherous. The strongest of swimmers, Michael Phelps himself, gold medalist, would never survive the Great Savannah. But once you hit the center of that river, as smooth as it looks, there is a current so swift, not only would it suck you under the water, it would then suck you down the channel. When General Oglethorpe first arrived here, the river was 12 foot deep. Today, at the lowest of low tides, the Great Savannah is almost 50 feet deep. And as we make our way on up River Street, we're going to come up on a monument that is dedicated to a very beautiful woman whose name was Florence Lawrence. Young Miss Lawrence is known throughout the parts of the Southeast as Savannah's waving girl. She is our symbol of Southern hospitality. But you know, y'all, when it comes to history, sometimes folklore is so much better than the truth. Well, the truth of the matter, her monument's to the left. Miss Lawrence lost her parents at an early age. As she went out to live with her brother on Elba Island, he was a harbor lightkeeper there. She fell in love with boats and ships, and she would wave at every vessel that came up the river. That is the truth. It dates back to 1802. Y'all, this is the Old City Exchange Band. The old bell would ring every morning to signify the beginning of the business day, and each and every evening to signify the end of the business day. And if cotton hit an all-time high price in Savannah, that bell rang with the most intensity you've ever heard. And everybody knew it was time to buy cotton seed, because cotton prices were set in two places in the entire world: Liverpool, England, and that reddish brick building right there in Savannah, Georgia. City Hall. We are the only government building in the state allowed to have a gold dome besides the Capitol building in Atlanta, Georgia. Because we are the first.
Look, these for $15. I think so.
So if you need food, please come.
Yeah, with shark teeth. It's awesome. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you did, please give us a like and leave your comments. It really helps our channel grow. We'll keep improving and bring new videos. See you next time.